You know that sound. You probably heard it all night. Careful on the roads this morning. This spring storm brought plenty of rain here to San Diego, and this is what it looked like in Kearney Mesa very late last night.
Yeah, really coming down there for a while. Thanks so much for joining us, everyone. I'm Eric Connert.
And I'm Nada Irampur, and we do have team coverage for you on this storm. It was overnight, but still hanging on early this morning.
CBS 8's Dana Marie McNichol live in the East County with a look at the conditions right now. And we begin with Evan Narani, who is tracking the rain. Hi, Evan.
Good morning to you. Yeah, we are still seeing some of those showers clearing out here to start off your 6 o'clock hour. We see that they're moving mainly, of course, from west to east, and that is the typical fashion, clearing their way out of the coastline right now and moving inland. Now, into the next several hours, we could still pick up on a few 1/100ths of an inch. That's what we're expecting total. This is just the last 2 hours, and you can see how overall that activity is decreasing. A little bit of a wider look shows that North County is predominantly dry over the last about 2 hours or so. A few remaining sprinkles towards some higher elevations, but in general, all of this activity is moving off to the east and coming to a halt. Today's forecast shows temperatures are going to be mainly in the about low 60s along the coast, upper 50s inland, a few stray showers between now and about noon. Afternoon, we should have a little bit of the sun peeking through and helping to warm us up in the process. Let's talk about what's going on in traffic here at 6:02. No big surprise on the roads. Things are pretty dramatic because when we have this rain coming down in the overnight hours, it tends to cause some crashes and collisions the following morning, and that's what we see here. Slow lane blocked and the right-hand shoulder blocked with a crash on the 5 southbound at the 805. We also have the right-hand shoulder blocked with a crash on the 15 northbound at the express lane there. Taking you farther down south toward the South Bay, we have a crash on the 5 northbound. That's at the 75 where it meets Palm Avenue. Looks like with all these crashes, of course, they're likely rain related, so we encourage you to take it a little bit slower on that morning commute, especially if you see any ponding on the roads there, as there could be some pretty intense areas where we run into quite a bit of that rainwater still on the roads. Back to you.
Evan, thank you so much. We are dealing with the aftermath in the form of those crashes, but of course there's ponding, as Evan just said. It swept through our county, and now we are getting a closer look at the impact.
So CBS 8's Dana Marie McNichol is live in El Cajon with more on that part of the story. Good morning.
Good morning. Well, right now in El Cajon, it is dry. It's no longer raining, but it's still a very windy and chilly morning out there. So depending on where you're traveling, grab a rain jacket because it's still going to be scattered showers throughout the morning, what Evan just shared with us. I'm welcoming the rain. I know many people here in San Diego are as well, as we need that moisture.
Good to see some clouds, you know, change of scenery a little bit.
We need it. We're in a drought, so the more the merrier.
Now we saw those strong winds push through flags. We saw the palm trees swaying in the winds and palm fronds torn loose and littering the ground below. Some of the gutters even flooded yesterday as it started in the afternoon and continued on throughout the night. So the roads have been wet for a while now. My commute from the downtown area to El Cajon was treacherous in my opinion. I took it very slow. It was pouring, but I know some of those areas the rain has subsided, so it may be a much smoother commute for you. We do expect to see those scattered showers throughout the morning, and I'm looking forward to some of that sunshine in the afternoon. Now, in terms of the rain totals, some of the heaviest rain we saw came from the Tijuana estuary and the Smuggler's Gulch area, which does historically flood. They saw over 1.5 inches of rain. Coastal cities like La Jolla, Oceanside, and Encinitas just got over 0.5 inch. Now, it was tough on the roads. Like I was saying, one person was taken to the hospital around 9:30 last night after a rollover accident on the 15 in Mission Valley. Another big rig jackknifed on the southbound I-15 near Auto Parkway at Escondido. So, of course, Evan's going to be tracking those traffic conditions all morning long, but right now here live in El Cajon, it is dry. The rain jacket was definitely helping me, though, about an hour ago, so we might see some of those rain showers pick up, but wherever you are, I'm wishing you a very safe commute on this rainy San Diego morning. I'm Dana Marie McNichol for CBS 8. I'll send it back to you.
Dana Marie, thank you. And you can stay up to date on the weather by downloading our free CBS 8 app. You can receive the latest weather alerts right there. And we want to see the weather where you live. You can always upload your photos, your videos through the CBS 8 app. Just click on the Near Me feature on the bottom right of the app to share with us.
Well, more help could soon be coming for eviction protections here in our state. New legislation moving forward in Sacramento as the current law set to expire later this week.
CBS 8's Chris Groh is live with more on that, as well as a looming deadline to apply for emergency rental assistance. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Eric and Netta. And look, a lot of expirations coming up this week, but the point is that some of those people have already had their applications and they've been waiting on average for approximately 3 months, if not longer. And so there are a ton of applications that haven't been processed and a lot of households that haven't gotten their money. In fact, it turns out the state has only paid out $2.4 billion in rent relief to about 214,000 households, but it's fewer than half of all those who have applied for the aid. So that's why AB 2179 would give those renters who have already applied for state and federal help with their rent a 3-month extension on the eviction moratorium. But it will end eviction moratoriums for most of the state. And so there's a little bit of a gap there because some instances are showing that, again, that there are going to be some tenants who are kind of left out to dry, if so to speak. And so that's why some tenant advocates are actually speaking out against this. And then you have, of course, those who are representing landlords who are saying essentially that, look, enough has been done already. We've seen enough eviction moratoriums and that we need to start to move on. Now, if you haven't already applied for rent relief, the time to do so is right now, because while they are extending the moratorium, the time for rent relief application is coming up soon.
What's really important is that folks that need assistance, that have struggled during the pandemic, go ahead and reach out and try and get that assistance now.
Yeah, because again, that assistance, they will not be taking any new applicants starting on April 1st. So that's the deadline for actual rent relief. But for more on exactly what this bill would help do, as well as the next step there as it moves to the state Senate, you can go to our website, cbs8.com, and just click on that story link. Eric and Netta.
Chris Groh, we appreciate the update. And new this morning, coming into our newsroom here, Russia is cutting back military activity near Ukraine's capital. That's what they said amid face-to-face talks between the two countries. Those talks are happening right now, and this appears to be the first major concession Russia has made since invading Ukraine over a month ago. The countries are holding 3 days of negotiations in Istanbul, Turkey. Ukrainian officials are hoping for a ceasefire. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky says his country is willing to discuss some of Moscow's demands, including a declaration of neutrality. And with President Biden promising to accept up to 100,000 Ukrainian refugees, San Diego leaders are now asking for financial assistance to make this a reality here. County Supervisor Joel Anderson sent a letter to the president requesting federal funds to help cover resettlement costs. Anderson even proposed using frozen Russian government assets to fund the needed resources for the refugees.
Today is National Vietnam War Veterans Day, and the USS Midway Museum will honor those veterans with a ceremony. The ceremony will take place on the flight deck of the USS Midway and will feature an appearance from the U.S. Navy's Leapfrogs Precision Parachute Team. Keynote speakers include a former Navy captain and POW who flew nearly 300 combat missions, and a refugee who fled Saigon as a teenager on the USS Midway in 1975. It all starts at 10 a.m. Today, San Diego County Board of Supervisors Chair Nathan Fletcher will deliver his second State of the County address, and we are going to bring it to you live. Tune into the CW starting at 6 p.m. The address itself starts at 6:10. Our regular 6 p.m. newscast will air on CBS 8.
Now for the big ceremony there on the Midway, let's hope it stays clear.
Right.
Yeah, it will. We have the expectation that between now and about noon, we're going to see all that wet weather taper off slow and steady. We right now, through the next hour or so, have a few remaining showers, but in general, I mean, take a look at this beautiful view outside from Mount Soledad. It's what we're working with, right? We're seeing those clouds break apart just a bit in some spots on the county map. We're also seeing just a few 1/100ths of an inch that are coming down within the next couple hours or so. So here's the forecast for the day. Temperatures are cooler. Good idea to still have that jacket on hand as those temperatures remain cool. However, the remaining showers that we have are going to be really minimal. And then beyond that, we'll have those clouds break apart and give us a little bit of sunshine by the PM time frame. Looking through our models, again, you could barely see south of the 8. We're just picking up on a few stray showers between now and about 1 p.m. or so. And after that, following that, we've got the expectation of pretty much dry weather across the board. Next 12 hours shows maybe maybe a 10% shot at any wet weather. Temperatures rise to the low 60s. Right now we're mostly in the mid 50s. Other spots are just slightly cooler in the low 50s. So again, yesterday we had really minimal changes and fluctuations with those temperatures because of how intense that cloud cover was overhead. As this low continues to just push farther off to the east, the same situation is the case today. So low 60s across your coastline, upper 50s and low 60s inland. Mountains will be the last to see those clouds break apart and showers to subside. They typically pick up on a few remaining snow showers off toward Mount Laguna, and then across the board, really, we'll see by tonight or so that countywide we are dry. Overall, rain totals were pretty decent with the storm that came through. We picked up on about half an inch to an inch along the greater coastline. Inland, there were plenty of spots on the map that came in with an inch or more. So these were roughly in line with average and actually brought us finally to the above average range for the month of March. So we will likely round out the month of March just a hair above average compared to January and February, which came in well below average. As far as watches, warnings, and advisories go, that wind advisory expired at 6 a.m., so 11 minutes ago. High surf advisory remains through 2 a.m. early tomorrow. Let's talk about what's going on as far as crashes and collisions go in traffic this morning. So I want to take you to just a couple things. First one is going to be on the 5. It's the right-hand shoulder in the slow lane that's blocked with a crash on the 5 southbound at the 805. Second thing is the right-hand shoulder that is also blocked with a crash on the 15 northbound. So usually in the 6 o'clock hour here, we have minimal activity taking place on our traffic maps. No big surprise to start off the morning because of the volume, the amount of water really on the roads. We're seeing a lot of crashes taking place. So I want to also take you off to the South Bay. Looks like this is causing some congestion as well on the 805, or on the, I should say the 75. This is northbound on the 5 where it meets the 75 at Palm Avenue, working off toward about the Coronado area if you're taking the Imperial Beach route. So that's where we also see some delays to start off the morning. But again, good idea to expect some slower speeds this morning as you head out on the roads because of just how much water and ponding there is following the last 24 hours of rain or so. And still a few showers and limited visibility on the map remaining this morning. Back to you.